This is my favorite sneaker of all time, and this might be my favorite retro of it. Yo, I am more excited about the pair of sneakers that's in this box than I think I've ever been for any pair of sneakers ever. In fact, I'm so excited I'm knocking stuff over. Oh my gosh, well you guys already know what it is because you've seen the intro to the video. I haven't filmed any of that yet. I wanted to film this first and give you guys my honest first impressions of this pair of shoes. So I bought this pair from GOAT, I think like a week or two ago. It finally came in. I paid $1,026.75 for it, so it's expensive, but the shoe is almost a month early. And it's one of the most limited shoes to drop, I think, this entire year. Let's just break into it. I don't even know what the packaging looks like. I've seen some people post pictures of the shoes. A standard Nike box, which is not a bad thing. Definitely not mad at that. It's not very often that I feel like this about a pair of shoes, man. Oh, look at the box. I know, it looks just like every other Nike Air Jordan 1 box, but it feels different. Like it feels like it's got a, I guess a slightly rougher finish to it. It's less of a waxy finish like this one. Is it a bigger box too? It is a slightly bigger box than a standard Air Jordan 1 box, at least the boxes that came out in 2016. I know I probably don't need to go this into depth about the box, especially when it looks like a standard Air Jordan 1 box, but just in case you guys are interested, I'm excited about it, so I'm gonna go through it. Cardboard feels stiffer. Of course, it is your black box with the Nike branding in red. You've got a Wings logo there in the back of the box, and then of course in the front, you got the size tag. This is a size 9, which is my true size. It is an Air Jordan 1 High 85. This is the pair that I've been waiting for years. I can't believe I actually have this in hand. And the colorway is black, varsity red, white. I haven't seen these yet. I haven't peeked. I haven't like opened them and then repackaged them. This is my first genuine time seeing them, and I really hope that everything's recording. I've been waiting since 2016 for this pair. I get it, like you guys are like, just open the freaking box, but I gotta take some time. I gotta enjoy this. Here we go. I was trying to pop it off. Whatever. You've got the GOAT authenticity piece of paper right there. How they look. Oh my gosh. These are gorgeous. Of course, we gotta compare them to the OGs. We'll do that later on in the video and see how close they are truly to an actual pair of 1985 Air Jordan 1 Breds, and of course we've also got the 2016 pair. Ever since the 85 collection came out, I've wanted a Bred pair of 85s. Now we're just waiting on Chicago's, but Breds, this is my favorite pair of all time, so this is the pair that I really wanted. Look at this. So you've got two different sets of laces pre-started in the shoe. You've got your black laces and your red laces. One other detail that I really like and was really excited about is your tech spec pamphlet right here, attached to the lateral side of the left shoe with this little bungee cord. You've got the Jumpman right there on the front, or Michael himself. And then you've got the tech specs of the shoes. Now it's funny, the tech specs are pretty much just like the way that they've cut the leather, like 4-foot flex notches right there, which I'm sure you guys have seen a million times, but maybe you didn't know that that was actually a tech spec. That's there for flexibility. Padded collar, 4-foot stabilizing straps, that's these right here. Ankle flex notches, that's this. This is an ankle flex notch. I didn't know that, actually. And nylon quarter lining. It's got an image of the air sole, solid rubber outsole, and then you've got some writing right there that says, the Air Jordan was inspired by the high-flying acrobatics of Michael Jordan, pro basketball's hottest new star, new at the time. The Air Jordan shoe is a combination of features designed to provide excellent cushioning and flexibility, while it retains stability. Stability required for the quick starts and stops of Michael Jordan. The Nike air sole system reduces heel shock that can be 4 to 8 times your body weight and retains its cushioning properties for the life of the shoe. The concentric circle outsole provides excellent traction in all directions, yet reduces leg strain during pivoting. You guys have no idea how excited I am for these. Yeah, you really have no idea. I can't believe I'm holding these. So you've heard me say this a million times, and I'm gonna say it again. This is my all-time favorite sneaker. And I'm not talking about just the Air Jordan 1 silhouette, I'm talking about this colorway in particular, the black and red. To give you some background on this 40-year-old sneaker, the Air Jordan 1 was first released back in 1985 as Michael Jordan's first signature sneaker. And it of course kicked off his legendary partnership with Nike and brought about the birth of the iconic Jordan brand. But going back a little bit farther, in 1984, Michael Jordan was drafted number 3 to the Chicago Bulls. A few months after being drafted, Nike signed Jordan to a 5-year, $2.5 million contract, which was unheard of at the time for a rookie. Keep in mind, $2.5 million back in 1984 is a lot more buying power than you have today with the same amount of money. Now granted, he had already won a championship with UNC his freshman year and Olympic gold in the 1984 Olympics with the US basketball team, plus people were starting to notice his unbelievable talent, but he was still just an NBA rookie. It's well known at this point that Michael didn't originally want to sign with Nike. Instead, he preferred Adidas, his favorite brand growing up, or even the other big basketball brand at the time, Converse. However, However, Michael was persuaded by his agent David Falk and his parents to take a meeting with Nike. And in that meeting, the legendary Phil Knight and Rob Strasser offered Michael his own signature sneaker line, something that no other brand had offered. In addition to that, he would get $500,000 a year for 5 years, that $2.5 million that we just talked about, stock options at Nike, and royalties on each pair sold. And for Michael, the offer was just too good to pass up. And the rest is history. Now, the following year, in 1985, when the Air Jordan 1 finally released, it came in this black and red colorway, which violated the NBA's uniform policy. Back then, the NBA required players' shoes to be mostly white. You could have some colors from your team, but they had to be overall mostly white. And as a penalty for wearing a mostly black shoe, they fined Michael for every single game he played in these shoes. While the story goes that the shoes that were banned were the Air Jordan 1s, the truth is that the pair that he was wearing was the Nike Airship. Very similar looking sneaker, sort of a predecessor to the Air Jordan 1, but not the Air Jordan 1 itself. Nike, however, saw this ban as a huge marketing opportunity for the brand new Air Jordan 1, which up until this point wasn't really moving that quickly. So essentially what they did was label the Air Jordan 1 the banned shoe and put out this now incredibly famous ad. On September 15th, Nike created a revolutionary new basketball shoe. On October 18th, the NBA threw them out of the game. Fortunately, the NBA can't stop you from wearing them. I don't know who that was who was overdubbing that. That was great voice though, amazing. This, and the fact that Michael Jordan was looking like the LeBron James of his time, I'm totally just kidding. Michael's the GOAT. He was actually looking like himself at that time. But as I was saying, all of that led to the Air Jordan 1 black and reds flying off the shelves. Now, since 1985, when this pair originally released, this is actually a pair of 1985 Air Jordan 1s, unfortunately not in my size, they've retroed 6 times, in 1994, 2001, 2009, 2011, 2013, and again in 2016. I actually have a pair right here. But in 2025, the shoe returns for the 8th time, the 7th retro, and in my opinion, it's the best retro of this pair ever. If you want to grab a pair of these iconic sneakers, they release first on February 7th at 23 different neighborhood Jordan retailers, basically their top-end retailers, with a wider release on February 14th, probably online, for a retail price of $250. I know it's a lot, but I think the overall modifications made to this shoe might actually justify the price, but of course we'll get into that throughout the review. Unfortunately though, from what I'm hearing, this pair will be extremely limited. I've heard rumors of there only being like 10,000 pairs of this shoe, which is nothing when you even compare it to a shoe like the Travis Scott Air Jordan 1 Lows, which usually releases in quantities of like 50 to 100,000. So this shoe is going to be even more limited than Travis Scott's, which is wild. Of course, that's all a rumor. I don't know for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised based on what I'm hearing from stores and also the resale price right now. It's insane. If you'd like to grab a pair for resale, I've made sure to leave affiliate links in the description below and through the YouTube shopping tab right there on your screen. Again, not gonna lie, they are expensive, but it doesn't hurt to look. So as you've probably heard, this new release is actually the 85 variant of the shoe, meaning the original pair was painstakingly reverse engineered to make this pair look as close to the original as possible. Apparently, Jordan Brand actually took apart pairs of the 1985 release and scanned panels and different parts of the shoe to try and perfectly recreate it with this new release. Well, newish release. We've had 85 releases since 2020, but this is the first actual OG colorway dropping on an 85 silhouette. In addition to these new shape changes and paneling updates, they've also slightly thickened the leather. Speaking of that, let's actually go over the sneaker itself and check out some of the materials that make up this incredible silhouette. Around the toe of the sneaker on the mudguard, you've got this black leather panel, which comes in this very smooth leather, which of course is what you had in the original release, although you can't really tell because my pair is so scuffed up, but it's really hard to find like a super clean pair for less than 20 grand right now. The shape of the mudguard of this pair is definitely different than some more recent Air Jordan 1 releases, especially the 2016 pair, but very similar to the 1985 pair. As you move up on the shoe, you get to this bright red perforated toe. One thing you'll notice when you get the shoe in hand, if you're lucky enough to get it for retail or willing to shell out resale like I did, is the leather is stiffer and a tad thicker than a standard pair of Air Jordan 1s. Actually, fellow sneaker-ish YouTuber Rose Anvil cut a pair of 85 Jordan 1s open and did a deep dive on the leather quality. Definitely recommend checking that video out. In fact, I've linked it in the description below. But in that video, he says the leather is comparable to the standard Jordan 1s in terms of actual quality, but it's thicker like a pair of Air Force 1s, because Air Force 1s actually have slightly thicker leather than Jordan 1s. Now, I can't personally verify if the leather used on this Jordan 1 85 Bred is the same as what was used on the neutral gray that he cut open in his video, but it feels pretty similar. It may not actually be significantly nicer than standard JB leather, but honestly, it does feel more premium. And personally, I love the way that these new 85s crease and wear in. They're not immediately comfortable, but after a few wears, they sort of mold to your feet, kind of like a pair of Birkenstocks. Actually, speaking of comfort, if you want to make your shoes the most comfortable that they can possibly be, grab a pair of APTHCRY socks, your sneakers' favorite socks, through the links in the top of the description below and through the YouTube shopping tab. This week, actually, we're dropping our brand new performance sock, which is perfect for basketball. If you guys want to check it out, APTHCRY.com. Moving up from the toe, you've got a black nylon tongue, and it's clean and simple, just like the original. Also, from what I can tell, when you actually sort of sit it up the way that the original one is sat up, it is about the same height relative to the sneaker. At the top of the tongue, you've got a black tag with your red Nike Air branding, which is thinner than some of the more recent releases, again, to match the original. On the back of the tongue, you've got this white backing that's thin enough that you can actually see through to the foam underneath, which kind of gives it this sail or cream color. The eye stays of the sneaker come in black leather, the same leather used throughout the shoe, and the eyelets themselves actually look bigger than on the standard 2016 release, presumably because they're bigger on the original release, and also it's harder to punch through this thicker leather, would be my guess. I'm sure they just used a bigger punch, to be real with you, but hey, maybe they used it because the leather's thicker, I don't know. As we saw in the unboxing, the shoe comes with two different sets of laces, a black set and a red set, and both are laced through the bottom eyelets of the shoe when you take them out of the box. Now, as you can see, I went with the black laces because I think it's the cleaner look of the two, but red also looks good as well. You can't go wrong with red. You really can't go wrong with either of them, to be honest. Moving inside the shoe, you've got a black sock liner, and around the ankle, you've got padding that feels just like the OG actually in terms of placement and also stiffness. I know the OG pair that I have is really stiff because it's old, but it definitely feels firmer than the padding on any of the previous Air Jordan 1 releases. It seems like they use like a 1.5 inch or 2 inch thick piece of foam, wrapped it around the heel, and it's definitely thicker and also stiffer than a standard pair of Jordan 1s, but I actually think it gives you a bit more support, so I prefer it. Now, printed on the inside of the sock liner, I think on the medial side of the shoe, you've got these white numbers and letters, of course, with the size on the far left. Again, just like the original release, they had that there too. Rounding off the inside of the shoe, you've got this really nice white insole that comes with the Nike Air branding printed on the heel in red. It's also a very thick insole and feels pretty decent underfoot, better than a standard pair of ones, in my opinion. You can't always feel the Air unit in Air Jordan 1s, so it's kind of nice when they add a slightly thicker insole to give you a bit more cushion. In this case, I feel like I felt both the Air unit and the insole. Not 100% sure, but it did kind of feel more comfortable than a standard pair. I wouldn't say like significantly so, but maybe it's also just me thinking it's more comfortable because I love this shoe, I don't know, but I do feel like it felt slightly better underfoot. Jordan 1's not a very comfortable shoe though, so really it could just be the socks. But why don't we rewind a bit to back when I first tried this shoe on to talk about the fit. So let's try on the Air Jordan 1 85 Bred, my favorite sneaker of all time, or at least a new retro of my favorite sneaker of all time. But before we actually try the shoe on, I did want to get your opinion. Which one of these Bred retros is your favorite? We've got the OG, the 1985, we've got the 2016 pair, and then we've also got the 2025 release, which is designed to look like the original.
I guess the OG.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
It just looks cool.
It does look cool, right? I know this is size 13. I can't wear it, unfortunately, but it does look cool. Let me throw on the 85s, try them on, see how they fit. I forget, are you a fan of the Bred ones? Is it one of your?
I mean, yeah, I think everyone is.
Do you prefer the Chicago's, one with the white on the side, or do you like these ones better?
I like these.
So the laces are a little tight, so this is a first try on, so I haven't had a chance to really loosen up the laces, get them how I like. Okay, so first impressions, true to size. They feel great. The padding around the ankle feels really nice. We'll talk about that later on in the review. They feel really good on foot. Maybe I'm crazy. They actually feel a little bit softer than a standard pair of ones. You know what, let me compare the 2016 pair really quick. In terms of sizing, it could just be that I've worn this pair so much. I feel like the 2016s do feel a tad wider, but not by much. Also, these ones are thicker leather, so it takes a little bit longer to break in. But yeah, I'd still say true to size. So if you're grabbing the 85s, true to size. Back to the studio. Continuing back on the shoe to the midfoot, you've got more black leather with a bright red Nike swoosh. Now the Nike swoosh is made up of a significantly thinner leather. It could even be synthetic, I'm not totally sure. But it's way thinner than any of the other panels on the shoe, and it actually looks like a slightly different shade of red. Ever so slightly, it's very hard to tell. Moving towards the back of the shoe, you've got two more red leather panels wrapping around the heel. And I've got to say the red on this pair is far more vibrant than the red used in the 2016 pair, and I definitely prefer it. I like how bright it is. I mean, the 2016 pair is fine too, and I've worn this pair a bunch, but I just like how much this pair pops. And in terms of color, I definitely think it's the closest to the 1985 pair versus the 2016 pair, which, let's be honest, took some liberties because it's got tumbled leather. It does still have the text on the inside, but there's a lot of things that are different about this shoe versus this newer release. Still love this shoe though. Still one of my favorite sneakers of all time, but definitely prefer this one. On the lateral side, you've got the classic Wings logo in black. It's embossed on this pair, so it comes out of the side of the shoe like the original pair versus the 2016 pair. Not to pull this pair back up again, but this pair is sort of pressed into the shoe, so it's sort of a different finish and texture. Actually, this pair is also glossy too. This one is not. When it comes to the actual shape of the upper, I think Jordan Brand nailed it. It's super similar to the OG, at least the pair that I have. I wish this pair was my size, but even though this is a 13 or a 12, I forget which one it is, 13, and this is a 9, you can still tell they're a very, very similar shoe. I mean, it definitely looks closer to the OG than really any of the previous retros. Other than, no, I think it really does look the most like the OG of any retro that I've seen. I know we've all become accustomed to the recent Air Jordan 1 shape, so many will probably find this shape odd, but I think it's a much more classic, timeless look. Moving down on the shoe, you get to another change, and that's the midsole. So they essentially retooled this midsole to match the OG, which makes it more curvy along the side of the shoe. One other change is that they've also sloped it towards the bottom of the shoe. You can really see it when you look at the back of the sneaker. Like, both of these sides kind of slope inward versus any of the recent releases, which are kind of just straight up and down. They've also changed the shape and the texture of the midsole. It's larger and thicker than any of the recent Air Jordan 1s, at least any of the non-85 Jordan 1s, and I'm about it. I also love that they didn't give this shoe that sail look on the midsole, that sort of fake age look, which I don't mind, but I like that they went with the white. I'm sure that has a lot to do with preserving the original feel because this is the 40th anniversary of the original Air Jordan 1, but I'm still happy that they made it look like a new OG pair, a new pair out of the box. Then getting to the bottom of the shoe, you've got a bright red rubber outsole that matches the rest of the upper, of course with that circular traction pattern that is what they talked about in that little pamphlet that we looked at a second ago. I think Jordan Brand created a solid sneaker of the year contender. I hate when people say it's so early. I know it's only January and this really is just a retro, but it's a retro of my favorite sneaker of all time. That has to give it some bonus points, right? In all seriousness though, it's a ground up remake that is as close to this 40-year-old OG as we've ever gotten, and I think it could be my favorite Air Jordan 1 release ever. Well, outside of the original release, of course. But hey, if you made it to this point in the video, let me know your thoughts on the upcoming Air Jordan 1 85 Bred and whether you're gonna be trying to grab one of these 10,000 pairs that are releasing in February. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet, and I'll see you all in the next one.